Crosstalk, the unintentional transfer of signals between communication channels, a casual conversation.
World, this is Videogame Crosstalk, the monthly podcast of gamers talking tech, science, and whatever else comes to mind. I'm your host, Anthony Rossi, and with me this month is actually a two-part eSports special. For the first part, I recorded on location with Gaming Insomniacs, an eSports league who has recently set up shop in Schenectady, New York. They are currently in the middle of their Call of Duty season, but Freddy and Shane were gracious enough to give me a moment of their time to talk about what they've been up to.
In beautiful downtown Schenectady, I am fortunate enough to sit down with Gaming Insomniacs to see what they got going on as far as the esports scene is going on here in the capital region. So, fellas, why don't you introduce yourselves?
My name is Frederick Freeman. I'm with Gaming Insomniacs. I'm Director of Human Resources.
My name is Shane Batcher. I'm also at Gaming Insomniacs. I'm Director of Operations.
Fantastic, guys. So, you guys were recently in the news. WNYT?
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
We were also with Albany Business Review.
Oh, really?
And
okay.
The Daily Gazette.
So you guys are just like hitting up all the local news outlets. That's awesome. So what is going on here in Gaming Insomniacs land? So like, what's the purpose of you guys?
So we started back in August.
Okay.
We came to downtown Schenectady. Came to the old Corky building, which is right now known as the Urban Co-works.
All right.
Across from Proctors. So we came here one day to speak to the owner of the building that we wanted to rent the space out to host league events.
All right.
So right now, currently we have, we came in, we have an office space here, been operating since the beginning of the year. Mm-hmm. We have 10 teams.
Nice.
Consists of 6 players per team. Each team has a manager, also has a coach. Right? Yeah, the players, they come here to compete every weekend.
Every weekend you got something going on. All right.
Every weekend. And Monday through Friday they come and practice also.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so what teams do we have coming through here?
All of them?
All of them? Okay, so we're going to take this back a step or two. So I am not fully involved in the esports scene. Listeners to this podcast will know I play Destiny for the story and the lore type of thing. Okay. So I am primarily a PvE player. Okay. I will do the PvP simply for the rewards. Okay. And then I let the rest of my clanmates handle all the rest of the accomplishments. I mean, I'll join you so we can get the voice chat going. But PvP is definitely not my thing. However, the fact that we have an esports league here in the capital region just like makes me smile. And just the idea of it going on. So these teams, are these just locally organized teams? Are they sanctioned in some way?
So we have, right now it's our Call of Duty season.
Okay.
So the league works with Call of Duty Black Ops 4. We do have 10 teams. I'll just list the names.
Yeah, go for it.
So you guys are aware. We have the Adirondack Daredevils, Albany Tactical Nightmares, Boston Kryptonites, Buffalo Double Tap, New York Liberty, Oneonta Hellhounds, Rochester's Titans, Saratoga Misfits, Schenectady Sharpshooters, Troy Warlocks.
All right, so what I'm noticing is these are all city teams.
Yes.
This is interesting to me. So it's not just like a group or a team somewhere. Like these are hailing from specific cities in, well, the Northeast, I would say. It's not just...
They're
Go ahead.
teams. Well, they're team names from New York.
Okay.
So the idea is, you take your traditional sport, right?
Yeah.
Somebody's from Boston, right? And if they lived in New York, if the Boston Celtics are playing basketball, they're more going to gravitate towards the Boston Celtics than the New York Knicks. Because that's their homebrew team.
Gotcha.
So creating these identities in these teams, it kind of gives those cities and those towns their own identity.
Nice. Okay. Very cool. So how did you guys come up with the idea to... I'm going to back up a little bit more. So are you like your own contained league?
So
go ahead.
Just a little bit of the background. Jade, the gentleman you've been working with, he knows Call of Duty. That's the game he's most familiar with. So that's why we started there.
Okay.
And from that, they kind of sat down and decided, how do we want to structure it? What are we looking for? How many teams do we want? How many players do we want? And they moved into choosing the 10 teams, 6 players per team, manager, coach, into that structure. And I don't know.
So once we did that, the idea was, once the teams were well established and gameplay was going on, we decided that we're going to sell the teams, just like you would with a traditional sport.
Okay.
So right now, all the teams are based off their roster and their stats. They have a price listing on each team. So the idea is a company or an individual could come and purchase a team, and that would be that individual's entity. Mm-hmm. And as the season progresses, once the season is done, season ends in May, so we'll have draft season. So new players can come in, try out, and that team manager and the owner of the team, they can decide, okay, we either want to keep a player or do a trade with another team. Because when we first started, we actually had a trading season. So in I believe it was in November, the ending of November, we had our tryout season.
Okay.
So players came in, they tried out. We had our scouts, scout which players were good, got a name of the individual players, sent an email out to let them know that, hey, you've been selected with Gaming Insomniacs. These are the people on your team, and we want you to come in and do contract signing. So they came here at our location. They sat down. We went over the contract. Everybody agreed. We signed the contract, and then that was it. So the teams, they came back in. I believe it was in the beginning of the new year.
Okay.
They started coming into practice. So we ended up opening the roster up, or the room up, for trading. So as players practice and they got used to each other, because right now you're talking about individual players from all over New York State, right?
Okay, yeah.
One of our players is from North Carolina, and we have a player from Syracuse.
All
They
right.
commute to come here to play.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
So when these guys met the first time, when the players met for the first time, they played, they practiced, and then they started trading. And they had to go through the league to get approval for the trade. And then as the season progressed, we kind of closed down the trading, and then the season took off on January 26th.
Okay.
Yeah, the weekend of January 26th.
So how long is your season?
Our season is regular season ends, I believe, in April.
Yes.
The second week in April.
All right.
And then we have a break, and then that's when basically playoff starts.
Nice.
So literally, it's just like traditional sports. We have a regular season, and as time progresses, we end for the season. And if I'm not mistaken, so our season ends.
Our finals is May 5th, and our All-Star weekend, or All-Star Sunday, is May 12th.
Woo! All Stars!
Yeah. So our regular season ends April 21st.
Okay, so April 21st is
April
when
21st. That's when our regular season ends.
with the regular season ends. Okay.
Yep.
So how many rounds do we have in postseason? So wait.
So
Mental math. Come on, I can't do this.
So right now, I believe we have. I want to say we have roughly, not including the preseason, we have roughly.
I was going to say in
9.
postseason. I was going to say.
Yeah, we have roughly nine weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, 9 weeks of regular season.
So turnout's been good. Response has been positive so far.
Yes. The only thing is, being in the capital region is different, right?
Okay. How so?
Well, because with eSports, if you go on the West Coast, it's huge.
Okay.
Right? People know about eSports. If anybody wants to participate in eSport, they know West Coast is where it's at. Right?
All right.
People leave in the East Coast to go to the West Coast to go play. Nobody knows that the idea of eSports can even exist here in the capital region.
From the people that I've talked to, kind of outside of the gaming community,
Yeah.
one of my objectives with this podcast is to start breaking down that stigma.
Yeah.
That's why I try to have people from the industry who are also gamers be like, hey, can we stop pretending that it's teenage boys in their parents' basement? Can we stop that, please?
No, it's true. It's very true. It's very true.
And esports, I guess geography matters as far as networking matters geographically, regardless.
Yeah.
Just like if you're within that community, networking is going to happen, just through geographical proximity. But it's esports.
Yeah.
It takes place on a virtual playing field. It can happen anywhere.
Yeah.
It really can.
Yes.
And some people that I've talked to specifically about esports is it might be foreign to us, us as in the community at large. It's foreign to us, not to other people, not across the planet.
Yeah.
I'll be preaching to the choir if I had to say, like, oh, well, Twitch has the massive viewership, and certain esports finals and championships have larger viewing than the U.S. Super Bowl. I'm preaching to the choir about that through this podcast. Gamers know that.
Yeah.
Not all gamers are into esports, but they are at least cognizant of it that, yeah, it's huge. Maybe not so much in the U.S., specifically the East Coast, but it's a global phenomenon.
Yeah.
It's a global trend.
Yeah.
So to see something like that start sprouting up in the capital region is just exciting to me. So that's why I was like, I saw the news article pop up on my social media feeds. I'm like, I got to talk to these guys. You got it. So tell me about this building. I lived in Schenectady for a few years. Had a blast during my bachelor days. I'm now an old man. I'm married and I got a 2-year-old at home. But this city has undergone such renovations and rehabilitation in the past 10 years or so. It's still being rehabbed. I just came down Broadway and I see more buildings going up. I see more buildings being resurfaced. And this whole area, it was called the Urban Coworks.
Yeah, that's the name of this. That's the name of this building. Well, that's the name of the 4th floor.
Okay.
So we occupy probably one of the biggest office spaces at Urban Coworks. So what Urban Coworks is a shared office space.
Okay.
So you have individuals that have an idea of a business plan, right? They'll rent an office space and they will start developing themselves and developing their organization.
Okay.
So it's basically a stepping ground for organizations to come and start, get a space for them to be able to call as their home base, their startup,
So you rent out the space,
yes,
correct?
Yeah. So right now we work with Metroplex.
Okay.
It's a company.
So is this a Metroplex initiative?
Yes. Well,
Awesome.
So right now this building here is not Metroplex initiative. So our office space that we have, we work with Metroplex.
Okay.
To basically help us acquire the space that we're in.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So Metroplex is an entity that helps bring businesses here in the city of Schenectady. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I'm just looking around. I know this is great for an audio only content, but it's I've never been in a place like this before, and you've got. So what we're recording in right now is one of the conference rooms on the 4th floor, and this conference room would be shared amongst all the companies. Okay.
Yes.
So what's it been like working in a shared office space?
I have found it really unique.
Okay.
We have our own room and our own office space where we have, our desks and our systems and things like that where we are. But, I want to, use the restroom, for example. I walk through the shared community space and I see individuals from all different backgrounds doing all different things. We have, I believe, a lawyer in here. We have small businesses that just work on their own, or individuals who just want their own spot. And so you get kind of exposed to a lot of different things, and we have been able to interact with some of the people and have really great conversations. So
nice.
Being in this space is really interesting in that sense, kind of in contrast to if we had our own building or our own space, we wouldn't have that kind of almost public dynamic because it would be our own space. We would just have who works with us.
Well, I think it's great to have these type of multi-use public office space areas, shared areas, because to start up something like this, there's a lot of hardware involved. I'm sure you know.
Yeah.
And that's not even the physical overhead of building your own structure.
No.
That's expensive. Really expensive. And especially within a city where real estate is all occupied to begin with.
Yeah.
So the idea of these shared workspaces, it just makes sense, especially in the modern business scape, because you have security, which I was somewhat bitten by. So Side story. This is hilarious. I scheduled to meet with you guys at 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
Being the good business professional that I am, I showed up early. Mm-hmm. The problem is the elevator to come up to the 4th floor has security protocol where it's locked to public use before the time of 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
So me being proactive, I'm like, beep, nothing. Beep. Nothing. Thankfully, someone was by the phones, and I was able to give you guys a call to come up here. But again, that makes perfect sense. So you have a stable structure. You have a church that's built already. You have facilities in here already. And you have the advantages of renting from a place in that sure, you pay money every month. However, if something breaks, you can call somebody. And just, it's got to be, as you said, a unique experience rather than being in. So I've worked in a few different corporate offices, and it's just been our company for the building. Sure, I'll interact with different departments, but everyone's got the same mindset because we're all working towards the same corporate goal or whatever. You got all sorts of different corporate goals going on. You have all sorts of different personalities. Do you guys ever lean on each other for information or advice, or just kick ideas back and forth?
Of course. I mean, the gentleman that runs Urban Coworks, Jeff, I think we've sat down with him since we started.
Oh yeah?
Since we started. He's been our mentor, throughout the whole process.
Fabulous. Mentorship.
Yes,
it's so valuable.
It is. He's had multiple startups.
Okay.
So, and he's basically he was like our guardian angel. He had faith in us. He saw the vision, right? Mm-hmm. He believed in it. We sat down with him maybe 10 times in August, maybe more, from August till September, trying to explain to him the process of eSports, right?
Well, it's a sports league.
It is.
Right? It is sports league. It's eSports, so because it takes place on the virtual landscape, but team dynamics still matter.
Yeah, yes.
Rosters still matter.
Yes.
You play within the parameters of a defined set of rules.
Yep.
So it's sports,
It is.
but like I said earlier, it's foreign to most people inside the U.S. as opposed to outside.
And that's something that we're realizing with the industry. It's easier for parents with children to understand.
Okay.
Because if you take a 10-year-old, even a 5-year-old, right, they spend, I'll say, most of their day on YouTube.
Yeah.
And now with Twitch, because right now Twitch is Netflix's biggest competitor is Twitch,
Yeah,
so
where did that come from, right?
Yeah, I mean, you have a lot of children that are spending a lot of time watching these pro players on Twitch on a regular basis. So it's easier for parents that have children to understand,
Gotcha.
So one thing that we're going to be doing in May 18th and 19th is we're going to be doing a high school tournament.
Okay.
And a tournament, and what basically the idea is to kind of create awareness that eSport is a thing that's happening. Right? It's coming. Whether the East Coast likes it or not, it's going to be happening.
Oh, it's coming. There's no
stopping.
Again, preaching to our own choir, but to the people on the outside, it's coming.
It's happening. So the one unique thing that we're going to be doing is with the high school tournament, we're going to have a scholarship tied in place to it.
Really?
Okay. We're going to have 16 high schools, and then once those 16 high schools compete, the idea is once that's done, we're going to be doing a high school league.
Okay.
So you take your traditional sport like soccer or football. Now these high schools can actually compete all year round, and at the end of the year there'll be a scholarship tied in place for every single time that they compete in the league.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
See, now that's an awesome vision right there.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Will the students come here to compete, or will they be able to access that? I might be dipping into some very sensitive legal territory.
Right now, the students will be competing at Proctors. We compete in the Proctors.
I want to be a student. I want in on this.
Yeah,
Okay.
so they're going to be competing in the Proctors, and right now we're still working the logistics aspect of it out.
Okay.
But the dates are set for May 18th and 19th. But for the time being, we're excited. We're excited because that's
what you should
That's
be.
very different.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very different. Because it's just these children are already doing it. Why not allow them to do something that they enjoy doing on a bigger stage?
Right. And I got to give a quick shout out to Proctors. One of the reasons why I love going to Proctors for performances is because they do a lot of the offbeat stuff.
Yeah.
So they'll do like your off-Broadway performances and stuff like that. But then they'll just bring in weird things.
Yeah.
And like, I love them.
Yeah,
Right.
It's different. It's very different.
Yeah.
And this will be the first time. I mean, a company like Proctors doing. I mean, this is totally off the beaten path.
Oh, absolutely.
Very, very off the
But
beaten
it's so up Proctor's alley, dare I say. I don't know if you guys have ever been to It Came From Schenectady showings.
No.
Okay, so It Came From Schenectady. This is a quick plug for them, completely unexpected. But a couple of guys in the Schenectady area, they do It Came From Schenectady, which is a play on like the terrible names of the horror movies back in like the 70s or earlier. And they just, on occasion, just show like B movies. And they'll do giveaways where they just go into like the Proctor storeroom, and whoever wants to do an impersonation or quote or the movie, get up in front of everyone and do it, and we'll give you this movie poster of a movie we're never going to show in the theater, or like some other promotional gear that they've gotten from other like film companies, and they're like, whatever, and like throw it into the crowd. I've gone to a few. They'll do like an anime fest or a sci-fi fest. They've done like a 24-hour horror movie-a-thon on Halloween. So they'll go like overnight. And one of the coolest experiences I've had with them, again, this just like lends itself to Proctors being open to different ideas.
Yeah.
They showed the original 1932 Nosferatu silent film, like the original vampire film. And they brought in their organist to play Goldie, like I forget the name of it, but yeah, the original organ. He played live music to the silent film during that time. And so they have that going on. They have a few other gaming, I'm forgetting I want to say the War Gamers. But they have like board game days, like once a month or something like that in the arcade or in the lower level of the theater. Yeah. So for them to bring in an eSports tournament, of course they would. It's like right with them. And from where I'm standing right now, or sitting right now, I should say, in this conference room, I can see the GE Theater at Proctor's sign, like right in front of me.
We're right directly across.
So again, proximity. The gaming industry and the gaming community is virtual, so it can exist anywhere. But geographic proximity to things. Case in point, as I'm pointing to the GE Theater, again, great for audio only. It matters. So you guys been doing good? You've been enjoying the season? How's the season been going?
It's been going really good.
Awesome.
It's been going really good. We're having normal technical things, but they're not a big deal, and
it happens.
Everything's been smooth. It happens, and within a few minutes, it's fixed. And
you can't ask for much more than that.
It's been almost scarily smooth, but it's been really great.
Something's gonna happen.
No, it's been a really great season so far. All the teams have been really, really great and very enthusiastic and ready to play and ready to just be here. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of players that are like, "Hey, can I come in and watch? Like, what can I do? Can I bring my friends in?" Like, they're engaging, and that's been really awesome to see with that. So it's been a great season so far.
I was just about to ask you guys get spectators coming in here.
Yes.
So like friends and family of the people competing.
Yes.
Okay.
So right now, another thing too that friends and families could do, or just individuals. So Recovery Room over in Schenectady.
Yes.
They actually stream our events.
Really?
And starting Monday, where our players are actually going to go there on Monday evenings to actually play.
Okay.
So you can go to Recovery Room and you can sit there and you can watch our players playing live.
Okay. Do you do a Twitch stream up there? Okay.
Yes. So everything that we do is through Twitch. So they have a Roku. So they stream. They can log into their Twitch account. And just watch everything that we do. Yep.
So all of the events, just I don't know to clarify, but all of the events that we do here on the weekends and everything, they're all live online. So anybody who wants to watch from anywhere can just pop on and look at our Twitch. And we have commentators, we have the whole everything running fully when our events go.
Okay.
Yeah.
We do also giveaways and things like that. And fun stuff for getting engagement and just having a good time with it.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's we're also we're on Facebook, so we're at every social media platform out there. We're on.
Oh, we'll plug the socials at the end of this discussion. We will and when I get around to publishing this episode, I will definitely drop links to everything in the show notes afterwards. So I'm going to go all the way back. We're going to do a little quick callback of how I'm mostly a PvE player. I play Destiny for the lore. I don't think I've said it on the podcast, but in some of my previous blog posts, I've considered dabbling into taking a shot at lore videos for YouTube.
Okay.
So I am terrible at PvP. So coming into the esports scene, I'm an outsider. So I've played enough shooters. I've played crap ton of Borderlands through the days. I played a crap ton of Halo. I am actively involved in the Destiny community as much as I can be. So I know shooters.
Okay.
Esports has a little bit of a different thing going on. If someone was to come into, right now we're doing Call of Duty. Okay. If I was to watch an esports competition, what should I be looking for? Like, as an outsider trying to understand what's happening, like, what would you tell newbies to the scene? Like, all right, when you see these people play, here's some weird stuff that's going to happen, but this is the reason why they're doing it.
So it depends on the gameplay.
Yeah, so with Call of Duty, there's a lot of strategy behind it. We do the game types, which we do hardpoint, search and destroy, and then control.
Okay.
And then we go back and we do search and destroy last. So that's our rotation every weekend for each team playing against each other. But in each different game type, there's specific strategies on how to perform better within that game type. For an example, hardpoint is kind of capture this point. You want your team in the point, and you want to keep the other team out of the point, but the point moves. And so one thing that I would suggest some of these players and individuals watching to look at is watch how the players move around the map, because there is a lot of strategy in, this point is about to expire, so it's going to move somewhere else.
Okay.
What do we do to get there before the other team does? How can we make that? And there's actually ways to do it. For example, at about 20 seconds in, before the point moves, most of the team starts moving.
Yeah.
And one person stays on the point.
Yeah.
And then when that person dies on that point, they are actually going to spawn closer to the next point, because the rest of the team's already moved. So there's a lot of strategy like that involved in this. So if you can just watch how these players move, and some of these you can hear, talking and whatnot, you can listen to that and watch what's going on. There's so much strategy.
Okay. So how are the points scored in that gameplay?
So that when you're standing in this point, which is kind of like a big square somewhere on the map.
And don't mind the siren. Again, we are recording this in the middle of downtown Schenectady, so it happens. But go on.
Yeah. So when you're in this hard point, is what it's called. When the other team isn't in the hard point, you score. I think it's 5 or 10 points a second or something like that.
Okay, so it's per second that points are being scored.
So if I walk into the point and nobody else is in there, my team starts getting points.
Okay.
And then as soon as another player from another team walks in, it stops.
Okay, so there's no points being scored with multiple teams.
Yes. Exactly.
Okay.
And so you need to control that. So the goal is to anybody who contests the hard point, you want to remove them. You want to shoot them, kill them. The whole Call of Duty.
Yeah.
First person.
Eliminate the opponent.
Exactly. And so that's really the goal, and they go up to 250 points.
Okay.
So every second you get 5 points, and then once you hit 250, you win.
Okay.
So the first team to get to the 250.
Okay.
And there's a lot of, you'd be amazed. Some players, take a map like Frequency, for example. They know that the next point is going to be that side of the map.
Right.
They can because they've been playing the game.
Right. You know where the locations are. Yeah.
So it's. There's a lot. There's a lot to take in play when viewers are looking and trying to understand. What's going on.
And it's fast too.
Yes.
It is very fast.
Very fast.
Yeah. And right now too, just because even though we play, I probably would say it's very difficult to play on console than it is on PC. Right?
Yeah, and that's pretty much understood. I'm a console gamer. Just because I want to be able to put the game in and just have it work.
Exactly.
I do have, my desktop and laptop computer like that. I keep for work, and then my console is for my fun. Mm-hmm. And from what I understand, mouse and keyboard just destroys over controller.
Oh yeah,
it's
anybody
just understood.
Who plays professionally or even some semi-pro or anybody who's just really in that industry, they know that
it's just understood.
Right.
It's just it's not even a debate. It's just it is. It just is. Okay. So what are the other two game types?
So the other one,
or that we play.
So the other two that we use is hardpoint we've talked about.
Right.
Search and destroy is the next one, which is essentially you have a team that needs to get their bomb and plant it somewhere else.
Okay.
And in each round, there's 6 rounds. In each round of that game, every player on your team has 1 life.
Oh.
So you pick up the bomb and you have to plant it or kill everybody on the other team.
Okay.
And there's a lot of strategy into it that I'm not super aware of. But that's search and destroy, and then we have control, which is actually very similar to hardpoint, except there is a life counter. So you have different areas that you want to try and control, but you are forced to do it at a more fast pace because you only have so many lives for each round.
Okay.
And you share that life with your team.
Yes.
So in control, for example, you have a team that's defending, right? And their objective is to make sure that the other team doesn't come into that rectangle. You have 2 points, right?
Okay.
So you have to strategically place your team in a good manner. So that means you have to know what each member is good at, right? So, and that's where a manager comes in play or a coach comes in play. Because the coach can say, hey, on this map, because this map is small and it's condensed, this person is good for fast, quick turnaround, shooting. Yeah. But because this map is longer, let's have somebody that's good with the sniper sit out and just pick people out.
I did flip around your Facebook over the weekend, and I did find a play of the game.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, so you saw that?
Yeah.
that was control, right? That was control.
Yes, it was control. It was control. So
that's an example right there of somebody that's really good at what they do.
Yeah, this is so I'll describe it really quick because I do limited PvP, but I've been playing shooters for I'm an old man, so I know enough that to see this. So it's on your Facebook and probably other social media. Is it on your YouTube?
I'm not sure if it's on YouTube. No. I believe it's on.
It's on Facebook and on Twitter.
Okay.
Twitter. Yeah, Twitter.
Okay. So someone is like locking down the control area, and they're dipping back and forth. Keeping their reticle like right on the edge of the wall so they can kind of turn and peek around, stay in cover as much as they can, still get visibility. And towards the end of the clip, this guy takes out 3 people, gets a triple kill essentially with a sniper.
Yes. Very, very smooth.
Yes.
It was absolutely nuts to watch.
It was probably one of the nicest play of the week.
Yeah. It was definitely. Yeah. I suck at snipers in Destiny. I have an awesome pulse rifle right now that I've been using, but I'm more of like the mid-range semi-auto.
Yeah.
DMR in Halo. It's called a scout rifle in Destiny, but that's usually my range. So, all right, that I think covers it. There is going to be a part 2 to this episode. I'm going to be speaking with some people that are involved in the Hudson Valley GamerCon. You guys are going to be there, right?
Yes.
Awesome. So, I know that the heart of this is going to be a eSports tournament.
eSport League. Yes.
Okay.
So, right now
I've been following as much as I can, but another callback. The articles that have been written about this have been more to the people who don't really understand esports. So it's like
what the Capital Center is doing is they are doing a tournament.
Okay.
They're doing a tournament style event, whereas we do a league style event.
Okay.
Do we do tournaments? Yes, we do tournaments. Majority of the tournaments is to kind of introduce the public that hey, we have a league started for this event.
Okay.
So, for example, for the high school tournament that we're going to be doing in May, the idea is to educate individuals, schools, colleges, businesses that hey, we have a tournament that's going on, but we're going to be doing a longevity of something.
Okay.
And I think, when people think of there are some people in the industry in esport, and when you tell them that, hey, we are an esport league, they think that, oh, you're just doing a tournament, so I'm going to come in here.
Like, no.
We're a league, and people, we have players that are assigned to our league that have to participate in our league. So as much as we are educated in the capital region and businesses, because a lot of businesses are kept out of the loop, very, very, very kept out of the loop.
Yeah. There's a lot of activity going on in the capital region. That's why they do the capital region unlocked.
Yes.
And businesses are taking notice.
Yeah.
Stuff is happening.
Yeah.
And just the fact that you guys have been able to pull off this season so successfully is indicative of that.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you.
All right, so end of, I usually call this end of show plugs, and so that's what's in my muscle memory for this, but end of segment plugs, we'll call it.
Awesome.
So, social media contacts. Where can my listeners follow you guys around?
So Facebook, you just can find us on Facebook, Gaming Insomniacs.
Okay.
Twitter, same thing. And then Instagram, GI Insomniacs.
Okay.
Or GIL. And then you can also follow us on our website. And our website, gaminginsomniac.org.
Okay.
And then also on Twitch, Gaming Insomniac. So everything is Gaming Insomniac.
Yeah, okay. Awesome.
Everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. One last question, and this is part of my final 5 on regular episodes. I ask every guest the final 5 questions. First 2 questions are always the same, but last 3 have a theme. Last question of this discussion: coffee or tea?
Definitely coffee.
Definitely coffee.
Definitely coffee.
Oh, we got a split vote here. Huh? You drinking black?
Both.
Both? Depends on the day. What's your flavor choice?
Black tea.
Just black tea?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you guys for joining me.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
One more time, guys, thank you so much for showing me around your studio. I had a great time, and I hope to see you again. And hey, let me know if you ever need a local podcaster to do some guest work for you. That's all the time we have for this segment. Roll the standard end of show plugs. You can find the show notes for this and all the previous episodes at videogamecrosstalk.com, as well as all the social media contacts and the occasional blog posts. Or you can follow me around on Twitter, Instagram, PS4, and Twitch at HyperSyntax, HYP3RSINT4X. Please don't forget to like, review, subscribe, and share this podcast all over your social media accounts, and we can be found on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and pretty much every other podcast listening service. Be on the lookout for part 2 to be released in a few days, and until then, stay behind cover and keep your sightlines clean.